Hey, I'm Matt Manning. Thanks so much for joining me for these devotionals from the book He Still Calms Storms. I hope these are an encouragement to your heart. These were actually put together at the start of the pandemic back in 2020. There were a series of 3 sets of different devotionals that my wife Amanda and I had put together and wrote, and we sent out to our church family, and then we compiled them into this devotional then. And so a lot of the themes that we're going to talk about through here are dealing with storms, are dealing with uncertainty, and dealing with fears. And day 1 today, we're going to talk about scared to death. A guy by the name of Larry Whitfield had committed a crime. He committed a robbery, and in his attempt to elude the police, he broke into an elderly woman's home and decided to hide there in her house. In the process of trying to hide from the police and escape being caught, he scared this woman so much to the point that her adrenaline started pumping and actually caused her heart to seize, and she passed away. When the police arrived on the scene, they arrested Larry Whitfield for the crime of robbery and as well for homicide in the same process. So the question is, can you be scared to death? Well, in Larry Whitfield and Mary Parnell's situation, the answer is yes. In 2 Timothy 1:7, Paul is trying to encourage his young protege, the young man he's mentoring by the name of Timothy. And Timothy's a pretty timid kind of guy. And so Paul encourages him. He says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, or of a sense of self-control. And so instead of God giving us this spirit of fearfulness, of being paralyzed and not knowing what to do in our situations, Paul encourages Timothy with this. He says, tap into the spirit that God has given you, not of fearfulness, not giving into fearfulness, but into the opportunity to have, first of all, power. That is, you have strength and control over your choices. While the circumstances around you may be out of your control, choose to control those things which you have the opportunity to make choices for. Most often, those choices that you can control have to do with yourself personally. Everything outside of that, we have to leave over to God's control. The second spirit that Paul encourages Timothy to have is a spirit of love. Sometimes when we love and we give of ourselves, we can be fearful that we're not going to be loved in return, or we're going to sense shame or rejection, or we're not going to find somebody accepting maybe our bid for interaction or connection or our offering of love toward them. And so Paul says, love without any thought of return. Love without any sense of fearfulness or needing to get back from somebody. Love to the point that no matter what they say or do, you know that God loves you, and that's why you have a strong capacity to love. And then thirdly, he says that God has given us a sound mind, a stable mind, a mind that is resting in Him, not controlled by worry. In Philippians 4:6, Paul says, don't be anxious for anything, but instead pray about everything. We've talked about this thought before, that if you can worry, you can worship. When it comes to our fearfulness, Paul encourages us that God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but given us a sense of power, a sense of love, and of a sound mind. So no matter what struggle or storm you're facing today, my encouragement is this: to know that God loves you, that God has a plan for you, and that God is for you. Thanks so much for watching.